got the island secured. How did things look in the statue? The leader
Oh,
surrendered.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So they were after Ambrosia. A month's supply for the East Coast. We think they've taken it back to the city. I didn't know UNATCO handled the Ambrosia distribution. Manderley will brief us shortly. UNATCO makes sure the limited supply of vaccine gets to government agencies and key industries. It's good to finally see some action. Yeah, well, pace yourself. You killed a lot of people tonight. I'll handle things out here.
Okay, that wasn't as
You better get to
the tongue
Manderley's
lashing I
office
was
on level 2
expecting.
and report for duty.
Kind of sticks with you, though.
It does, and you very rarely get pushback in any game about how you approach it. It's almost always just kind of enabling.
This floor.
Yeah.
I like it.
Don't slip.
Ugh. President Meade. That's why there's so much alcohol over the place. The guy's running the damn
Yeah,
place.
he comes from, he's the original beer baron. Yeah.
A superpower does not pay rent. And another kind of punchy quote that I found in the Bible, the Deus Ex Bible, is that Deus Ex is supposed to take place 10 minutes before the apocalypse. Did you read that?
Yeah, they
And I thought that was so interesting because it's obviously not true because this game goes through such a long time, but it was at least very punchy to me.
Yeah, it works as a metaphor, saying like we're on the cusp of the world collapsing.
And you don't think it is initially when you see this. It's kind of a techno-utopia that you seem to be initially living in.
Well, to a degree, like you go to New York and it's just it's pretty barren and bleak.
But I mean, like at least for the first level, it's not dystopia.
No.
It's just a crisis.
Yeah. And you're spending a lot of time piecing things together. I think you can get on his computer if
There's
you want.
4051.
Oh, I had the code completely wrong.
04051.
Yeah.
I've got to watch the doors.
We'll have to edit
You're just
that.
kidding around, right?
Otherwise, I'll never hear the end of it. I got the fabled code wrong. You can hack.
There's President Meade.
Yeah.
I was in your class at the academy. You probably don't remember.
How embarrassing is that?
Well, he's
that
wearing
you-
a mask.
That you're a friend at the academy and you get the desk secretary job and you're out in the field?
It's my first day too.
I love that guy though. I think you can hack his computer.
What's the username? Just hack.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He doesn't mind. It's his first day. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing.
Ice breaking. Nice. What is that? Neuromancer.
Mm-hmm.
Inspired. Oh, he has no. Oh.
Ah, nobody cares. I don't really have time to read this.
Bell. It's gonna set off the alarm. Oh.
I've got to watch the doors.
Putting you on the edge. Nice map of the world.
But
Trophies? For
three,
what?
3 trophies. You
No,
don't-
one's a vase. 2 trophies. For what? We don't know. I like this how you can't break it.
Yeah, I like how it lands perfectly every time.
Ding.
It's
And you
the-
can throw so far.
It's the future, though.
Oh, there we
It
go.
did
I
break.
did it. Mission accomplished.
Check in with Manderley on level 2.
This is one of the few games where you have a boss and you have to answer to him, and you get performance bonuses, which is interesting. Drink some water. Yeah.
Come on in. The retinal scanner can read blood vessel patterns.
And he's...
I love how they acknowledge the fact that you're never going to take your sunglasses off, even though it's at night and you're indoors. That's how cyberpunk this game is.
Yeah. Going back to the whole idea of having a boss, he's also kind of scary.
He has he has this sense of control over your life in a way that just, yeah. It's weird. It's a strange... You don't often see it in games. It's not weird in life. It's weird
Remember that
in
Mr.
games.
Manderley wants to see you. Level 2. His secretary, Janice Reed, has your login and password.
So I think you want to avoid seeing him right away, because otherwise it triggers a bunch of things.
Alright.
So we should explore.
Lots of doors you can't go in here.
Yeah, you end up coming back to the headquarters a number of times. So most games you go into an area and you feel like you should be able to explore everywhere at once. Since you're coming back here, you gotta play the long game. Should go talk to Gunther in the break room.
All right.
I think it's on the right.
Oh yeah, we don't want to go in here.
Yep. No, in that room. Sorry.
This door's unlocked.
That's your office.
You found your office. Did Janice give you your
Nope.
lock? I guess not. Let's see. JCD, password, bionic man.
So we later find out that UNATCO is actually like a puppet of a much larger organization. You may have heard of them, the Illuminati. They're out there, which is kind of cheesy, but it's really, and I think it gets worse as the Deus Ex series has gone on to believe in the Illuminati. But the way it's set up in this world is that for hundreds of years, this organization has controlled governments and they've controlled the media. And in the fiction of Deus Ex, with the advent of the internet, that power becomes decentralized. Their control over information comes out of their hands, and they become really fearful. And actually, within the fiction of the game, there's this split between the Illuminati and a splinter group, which is convinced that the Illuminati is becoming outdated and they need to act more aggressively. And that kind of sets up the events of the game, is that there's this tension taking place between these two groups, and you're caught in the middle of it. And UNATCO is meant to be kind of a way of exerting control over the populations in order to maintain the Illuminati's sense of
JC.
power.
Mind if I call you JC?
And while we're not probably going to refer to it specifically, the controversies of the new Deus Ex game, because by the time we get this all together, it's probably going to be out. Or at least we don't want to date ourselves. But this is an example of how the game takes a real life situation, group, organization, and fictionalizes it in a way that is appropriate. And I mean, the Illuminati in general is kind of one of those sort of fictionalized groups anyways, but something that we can relate to in real life. But and here's a picture of
I really hope that's
the staff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For the grunts?
But this is essentially how you do it if you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? In a way that's fully integrated into the world, that is not strikingly out there.
Back in the, on the right. Is there another door?
Oh,
Yes.
there is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it does what good science fiction does, is it looks at current trends and extrapolates them. I think part of the problem with the current version of Deus Ex is they're looking at the present day as though that doesn't impact everybody's lives as though people aren't living through that. They don't need a metaphor or an extended analogy to extrapolate what might happen. They're already living it. And so the whole Augs Lives Matter versus, Black Lives Matter, that kind of appropriation is just so visceral and real for people living it, that you need that kind of distance with science fiction, that kind of space in order to allow things to be processed. And there just isn't that room anymore, and it comes across as very heavy-handed and insensitive.
Mm-hmm. And this is definitely not something we're going to get into a discussion a lot with, because the game isn't out yet and we don't know exactly how it's going to be treated. But here we can at least talk about it. In the original, they've always implemented these kind of real life organizations, whether it be FEMA or like government issues and Illuminati and things like that. And here it's done tastefully.
Well, and there's a lot of connections that kind of match up. So I talked about like the martial law enacted by FEMA is similar to the Patriot Act. You can look at the 1% in this game as being, you can look at the Illuminati in this game as being like the 1% of the people that control wealth and power and media. And with the advent of the internet, meaning that the exchange of information is becoming more democratic and open, their power base gets destabilized, and that's not dissimilar to what's happening today, right? We're seeing that, and we're seeing police forces trying to exert greater control, and we're seeing pushback from people who are being oppressed by them.
It's always better when sci-fi predicts the future than is just showing the present.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the art director on the current Deus Ex is saying, we were holding up a mirror. Well, it's not really what science fiction does necessarily.
No.
In terms of reflecting the present.
My new partner, Jesse Denton. Don't tell me you're going to wear those sunglasses during a
dig.
night operation.
My vision is augmented.
Better to look good
Very
than to have the
short.
distractions of
Man with
another
a few
agent
words,
inspector.
JC is.
Forgive my interruption. I just wanted to say that I look forward to working with you, Agent Navarra. Also, excuse me, I've got to be briefed by Mr. Manderley.
I do not expect you to perform as well as Agent Herman, but the mission will require
Again,
us to do more than
stereotypical
frighten the
Russian
NSF with our baggy coats that make us look
There's
bigger
there's
than we
good
really
tension
are.
here though, because we have essentially the older generation, which feels threatened by
instance,
these nano
not to be
soldiers,
a
and there's
man
only two
running
in the
into enemy
world.
lines
I
without coordinated
believe
military
there's JC
assault.
and there's his brother.
No problem.
I really like Agent Navarra, and again, like in Human Revolution, I wish the female Augs weren't kind of evil and killed off.
Yeah, there's that one you meet in the news organization in Human Revolution, and she has no dialogue at all.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
really liked her. I liked her character design. I
The
thought
design
she
was
really
incredible.
cool.
Yeah.
Unauthorized access will be met with excessive force.
Whoa.
PageNet.
Yeah. I
Bob
wonder-
PageNet.
Oh, don't we know that Page guy? Yeah.
Global banking system.
Yeah.
PNGBS. It doesn't ring a bell. I mean, sound as nicely. Public computers, where they have the news bulletins.
Yeah.
Kind of fear-mongering. Like, know your enemy. These are all the groups that you should be concerned about. The NSF, Silhouette is the French terrorists, the Triads in China, and others.
Yeah.
1250 terrorist organizations active in the world today. Some too small to currently present as a serious threat. But all of them are eager to see governments topple.
If you look at the bottom, you see the web domain,
Daedalus, yeah.
which, if you played the game before, you'll know that Daedalus is an AI that was actually constructed by the Illuminati to kind of exert some control over the information networks, and a lot of the news organization networks run off the Daedalus network.
It's also funny here that Silhouette is deemed as a meme war, causing a meme war, which we'd never take seriously today.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, meme actually means something that's not just internet meme. It's an actual real word.
Yep.
But yeah, Manderley's the one that's posting all of these.
Oh.
Well, these ones don't. The Know Your Enemy doesn't, but I'm assuming that he also did. But these two about, threat profiling, symbolic attacks, the Statue of Liberty bombing, the desecration of the Soviet War Memorial in Berlin, the department store shooting sprees on Orchard Road in Singapore.
And again, this came out in 2000, so this was probably all written in like 98, 99, pre 9/11. It's in a lot of respects it's kind of hard to process because there's so much similarity between what's going on in present day. But again, that's I think that speaks to using science fiction to extrapolate present trends into future outcomes.
And interestingly enough, most of this stuff is happening not in Singapore or Berlin, but like very American style terrorist attacks or department store shooting sprees. Like that's automatically reading to me American. Desecration of memorials and things. Again, all stuff that's happening right now in the West, whether it be desecration of mosques or whatever. I don't know. It's great when it's still relevant in a way, like to now, not relevant necessarily in the present. Oh shoot! I bought stuff.
You got a candy bar. You'll need that when you meet that kid in Battery Park.
I already have one though.
Well, you might want to eat one. Get some health points. A pot, but no stove. Talk to what's Gunther doing?
Oh right.
You will be working with Anna Navarra.
Oh, thank you.
Manderley says sit out this one. I am filing another protest.
I don't think you can file a protest.
It's only going to go to Manderley, so...
I don't need sitting out. Simple provision of a plasma rifle with laser sighting and I am ready to
keep
go.
Pushing him. Does he talk about the head gun?
What will be decisive in street fighting is experience. Do not expect your augmentations to do the work for you.
Oh no, it's an email.
I don't need sitting out.
If you
Yeah, I
hack
think
his-
he's just looping.
If you hack an
Rifle with
email,
laser sighting,
he
and I am ready to
wrote a
roll.
letter to the doctor here to try and get him to develop a skull gun. A gun that's literally embedded into his skull that he can fire with his mind. Gunther is, yeah. No.
Suspects: Tracer Tong, Margaret Chow,
Oh
Max
yeah.
Chen. There's JoJo. NSF? Question mark.
They thought JoJo attacked. Well, he gets a lot of credit.
Connected.
This is kind of cool, actually. It's like they had just a staff meeting,
Yeah, yeah.
even though this. Like,
Who is JoJo's boss? What is Ambrosia?
what? How do they not? They wouldn't. They know what Ambrosia is.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The map of the Statue of Liberty, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have liked this sooner.
I think they gave you one actually in the inventory.
Oh, my
They
bad.
send you a photo.
They
or
do
something.
say. I never.
It's a
I
pain
should
in the
look
ass
at the
to use it.
photos more.
Yeah.
It's interesting how UNATCO is able to publish all these books, all these manuals. Like they really look like hardcover books, and they've got a whole bunch of propaganda scattered
Yeah.
throughout the office.
Oh, we didn't log into our computer.
We didn't get the code yet.
Yeah, we did.
No, we did.
Alex gave it to us.
Oh, right.
JCD Bionic Man. Oh, what was it? Was that it?
Capitalize? Hold on. Should we just hack our own computer? This is why we go into the notes.
Is it on?
Oh, here it is.
No, I think it's under conversations, maybe. On the top. Next to goals and notes is
Ah,
conversations.
right.
Is there one from Alex? The most JCD Bio. It must have been case sensitive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the future.
And interestingly enough, they were going to do more with text in this game, or at least text input. They were going to add stuff where you actually communicated, like, text
Oh, like a text parser.
text communication with the AI, which I thought could have been pretty cool. There we go.
Hi, me.
Oh, look, hey, Deckard.
Yeah, see? Only in emails, and so non-spoken dialogue will they use your actual real name, which you'd specify at the beginning.
Save money on voice acting.
Yeah,
Every
well,
single...
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's 2016, and Fallout 4 is one of the only games to actually have spoken names, right?
And even then, they
Players.
don't have all of them.
Yeah.
Like, there's still limits.
Yeah. So this was a nice workaround for 2000, was to, a little nod here and there.
At least they came up with the same last code name for your brother.
Jaime's a really interesting person. He was far closer to the morals of a physician than you see in a lot of games, and he'll show up throughout the game in various capacities and help you out if you've behaved in a way that kind of aligns with his morality, I guess.
And again, a way that I think, I don't want to say factions, because this game doesn't have factions, so to speak, but morality in games and influencing NPCs is done in various efficiencies, I find, in games where you have faction-based games where it's like, you do a small action and then this person dislikes you and this person dislikes you, and it's very, like, ludic, one choice over another, but at least they're kind of implementing the kind of theories in the game to these kind of interactions with characters.
Well, and Deus Ex gets past the moral relativism of games like the Fallout series, and like the new Deus Ex series to a degree too, where this game will actually force you onto different sides as you go throughout the game. You can't stay UNATCO stooge for the entire game.
No.
And that's not really the point. They actually, there are different stages in which you kind of become more aware of the fact that the NSF isn't actually what UNATCO thinks they are, and then they're still not what they present themselves as, and then you get involved with Tracer Tong and you find out that both of them are quite different, and it's constantly you're being asked to kind of reevaluate who your allegiances are with, but in a way that forces more ethical consideration of what you're doing than most games do.
Well, and in a way, the final decision of the game is each decision is tied with a person or a character. So not only are you just picking a decision, but you're almost picking who you're allying with at the end. Who's going to be your partner?
Yeah, but
in crime.
it's like a values-based thing though too. Like it's do you want do your values align with theirs? You can pick it if you want to.
Why not?
We spent the points on lockpicking.
And again, they don't care that we did that.
Multi-tool.
What do we get?
Oh, throw
Another.
that B-ball. Oh, your hands are full.
There we go. Have to look away and right click.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
wow, that bounced.
Pick it up and then go to one of the UNATCO guys. I'm pretty sure this works.
Bet the NSF won't try that trick
You
again.
throw it at him and hit him.
Good work up there. Good work
I
up
gotta
there.
move farther away.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. That's great.
Are we ready to meet Manderley?
Or do you want to go talk to Jaime and Alex? They're in the basement.
Before the briefing,
I love that.
level 3
Very Star Warsy. The little like robot scurrying on the ground.
Yeah, very Star Warsy. Yeah, you can step on it and it gets kind of irate with you. Yeah.
It's like the sparks. Predicting the success of Roombas. Men's washroom only?
I'll leave it up to you.
I mean, I think it's just one of those things that's pretty well known with this game that you do get consequences for going to the ladies' washroom, but I guess we could
It's just
just do it.
Let's not do it.
Okay.
Because
Does opening the door count?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a trigger
That
based
was a
on
close one
that
there.
room space. But there's the secretary for Manderley will acknowledge that you've been in there and closes off some
Carter. I
information.
read about
Because she'll
this.
say, I'm not talking to you,
School.
you're a pervert.
This is a
Right.
great honor.
Yeah.
I'm not a general anymore. Just call me.
Ex-military.
I can't believe
Handing
what
out
the NSF did
guns.
to your family.
Enough of that, soldier. We each have our.
Who I think we've talked about earlier is more pacifist.
I don't think we've talked about him. He is. He's surprised. He's ex-military and he works in the munitions department at UNATCO, an anti-terrorist organization. But he will often, in subtle
Sorry,
ways,
sir, I can't carry
encourage you to
anything
be
else right now.
stealthy. And I think if you remain on good terms with him, I think as you're later on, you end up having to break out of UNATCO. I think he lets you in there,
Yeah, he does.
but
Yeah.
only if you're on good terms.
So we don't want to break in right now.
But it's ridiculous. This organization, which is really nefarious, is actually staffed by people that have deep concerns about the ambitions of the organization itself. Almost everybody is ambivalent or suspicious as things unfold.
Kind of a hint, really, if anything, for like events to come.
Yeah.
That there was the instability.
Prepare for the mission.
And you can hack her computer. I think that's Gunther's computer too.
Mass grave in Brooklyn. Grey Death.
So that's the ambrosia is the cure for gray death.
Yeah. And kind of like this newspaper is an example of how you're showing events in the world that you're unable to like actually show in game.
Yeah.
I think a game nowadays would have an opening cutscene showing all of that, and this game does to some extent, where they kind of just flash a bunch of things at you.
Yeah.
But a game nowadays would be like, events in the streets are chaotic, and then you'll see people with like the disease, and you'll see people like collapsing on the streets and traffic jams and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't work for a game like this, I don't think, just because the chaos hasn't begun yet.
Well, and from my experience was like I
Get
didn't
your
read a lot of this
checkup on
stuff
level
until my
3,
second
and let's get
playthrough,
going.
and that meant that like I was in the right headspace and I was willing and interested in exploring the actual rest of the world. So I found I was more receptive to it.
Yeah, here's the skull gun.
Yeah. He gets really irate.
We applaud your courage. Thank you.
Skull gun.
May I suggest again? He spells it wrong.
Get out of there! Get out of there! Ooh.
I have to prepare for.
There was a bunch of different accounts there too. We gotta wait for it to cool down.
I
We
refuse
can
to
come back after
babysit a
Alex.
grown man.
Anything down here? Probably not, eh?
Oh, there's that.
The prison,
Yeah,
which we're not allowed in, right?
Way to
Maybe
go,
we
sir.
are.
I guess you are. They're never really told what it's for. Oh, they got
Gunther
these
should have
guys.
followed orders.
Can you talk to him? No.
I don't think so, because there's glass. Just the one guy.
Well, I think we killed everybody else.
Wasn't just us.
It's true, that bot killed at least 2 people.
Yep.
Our blood is not on our hands.
I have to prepare for the mission.
Okay, let's try this again.
Also on the Daedalus network.
Mm-hmm.
So on the right, yeah, everybody's account.
Dinosaurs.
I am not going to.
That's the
hold your
thing
hand.
about this that I don't
You
like
have
is
your orders.
who's gonna sit down and wait for the cooldown to recharge over and over again so that they can
Oh, yeah.
read everything.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a shame that it tests your patience so much
Yeah,
to
but
read.
I'm pretty sure with this game, every single thing that has a
You
login
have
screen
your
does have a
orders.
password and username in the world somewhere that you can find. It just takes, sometimes it takes a lot of digging. Alex must be in the other hallway. On the left, yeah, and Jaime. Exploration bonus.
Oh, yes, throwing knives on him that they forgot to remove from him, I guess.
It's a very Star Trek looking tablet over there. What's in the medical book? Oh,
Latin.
still hanging around in the future. Latin.
There's hope for all those classic students
Yeah.
out there.
Jaime. What's up, buddy?
Hey, JC.
You look like the real thing. They actually let you operate on people?
Just fixed Gunther's knee, in fact. A sticky actuator. So far, I feel more like a mechanic than a doctor.
I'm impressed.
They actually let you point a gun at people.
We'll have to catch up
It's
later.
not even gonna
I've
address
gotta
that
leave for New
comment.
York right
No.
away. Can you send Manderley whatever it is he wants?
No problem.
Oh, we
Listen,
can now
JC,
also get our
about
bonus.
augmentation.
Yeah, we can install the.
You know they're preparing to roll out
the
the
aug-
technology
yeah.
worldwide, right?
I forgot we had that.
As long as I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
turn green and grow a pair of antennas, as I understand it.
Yeah, well, the design's pretty modular, which means you'll soon have access to upgrades from standard
Oh, we don't have them yet.
augmentation canisters.
I think I picked one of those up at the
Yep,
top of
we
the
did.
statue.
Maybe you did. My order from VersaLife was on the ship the NSF captured.
Oh, the med bots.
You'll need to take it to one of the medbots for installation.
I'll do that.
The canisters contain a carload of ROM modules. Some are generic upgrades, others require you to make permanent choices about
We have to
how
decide what we
configure
want to
one of their
upgrade.
subsystems.
Swimming.
It's about time.
Well,
we
you
implemented
know.
We'll
some
do
of
the
this
long
stuff.
upgrade where you can swim for longer.
Oh,
Those books are dangerous.
you old kidder.
Oh wait, behind that plant? Was there a thing?
There is, nano key.
Nice. That's probably what he was warning us about. I think that opens
Med lab
the...
closet key.
Nice. That was back there. On the right. Nice.
This one?
Yep.
Ah,
Medical supplies.
just a box. Just a
I
crate.
think it gets repopulated as the game goes on. And that... I don't...
There we go.
Yeah, this guy.
So we can do this one or this one.
What's the...
Oh, here we go. Microfiber muscle strength is increased slightly, or effectiveness of melee weapons is increased. So both combat.
Well, no, the other one's for lifting crates. Believe it or not.
Oh, there we are.
Oddly,
Yep.
like, what a ridiculous... Like, that... We could go with that one.
Alright.
Because then we can get into different areas, and it makes the ridiculous platforming things easier to get through.
I do like this whole interface. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's really cool, yeah. I spent a lot of time poking around there. And they do have like location-specific damage, so I think as your arms get damaged, your aiming gets impacted, as your legs get damaged, your movement, that sort of thing. Your head, I think, affects your aim if it's damaged.
Oh, it tells you what each of the things you can
Jeepers.
get. Yeah. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, it's like
You could...
right from the get-go.
I mean, it doesn't really tell you...
What they do.
No.
Well, and this is one of the games where like they've done the science fiction universe, and then
Nope. Excuse me.
if you go into the Augs themselves, they go into detail about how they actually work. It's all like fictional BS, but it does a lot of work into building up the believability of the world. And they continue that tradition with the new Deus Ex games. They have a lot of minutia related to the technology that helps kind of flesh out the world.
Red hot. Looks like you found me.
Strange guy.
Strange guy. Weirdo. And interestingly enough, for Human Revolution, every time you would get a new augmentation, you'd have a cutscene where they were operating on you that they took out for the sake of like flow, I guess, of the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because you're right, you do have to go to those clinics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of cool to see. Although the intro of that game kind of does it real nice.
Yeah,
This thing is starting to give me a headache.
Don't worry, we shut it down when you go
Reminds
off
me of
duty.
Dexter.
I guess
I
I'm
like
used
how
to
his
it.
name is Hacker.
I'm Alex Jacobson, communications engineer.
Yeah.
I suppose you already know who I
But
am.
we know his name.
Getting there.
It told us in the comm what his name was.
Yeah.
Your brother Paul ever was.
Thanks.
And in emails he says Alex. Signs off as
Look at
Alex.
his pants. There's a keyboard.
Is that what that's supposed to
I
be?
think so. So he can type with his
Don't
hand.
worry, I'll be watching
Oh, like just like a number pad or
Yeah.
something.
your back. Okay, enough goofing around.
And his shirt says Griffin.
He's Team Gryffindor.
It'll be interesting to see how
That
the
makes sense.
transmission
Well, I
sounds
think
in
he'd probably be
Manhattan.
more of a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like him though. He's kind of like your companion through the game, but you don't often get to meet that person in person in the game that you play. He has his own personality and his own values, and you learn that as you go.
Yeah, I find often the case that the comms person is usually a NPC female character, and
Yeah.
she doesn't really have much to her. So it's kind of nice that it's a dude. Do we want to meet Manderley now?
Let's pause it.